Congratulations, everybody. We're here. We made it to C1X. Today, we get to talk to Michael Sizemore and Jackie Morris. How are you guys?
Good.
Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
We're in a little bit different of a spot today.
Yes.
Michael, you want to tell us where we're at?
Yeah, I'm glad to welcome you guys to the TechDisc Simulator Bay in the back of our office. It probably looks a little bit better on video than it shows in real life here, but we have what we think is the world's best disc golf simulator right here. So, and the first podcast recorded in the world's best disc golf simulator.
Yes.
So it's fitting because we've launched Stroke Play on the TechDisc app at techdisc.com. So any TechDisc owner can go in there and play a couple of the virtual courses that we've built out, which is really fun. And it's going to tie into what we're doing with Jackie here today.
Okay.
So be sure to check out techdisc.com and play some virtual disc golf. We've got some cool events and leaderboards coming for the first tournament of the year coming up in a few weeks. And we'll have more to come throughout the season.
Awesome. Yes, this simulator is fun. We've been here. I've been here a few times. You've been here once or twice.
A few times.
It's very fun. We're hoping to play afterwards a bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Check out some stuff. So very excited for that. Yeah, this is a funny one for me because it's like I'm having a little bit of a complex because I don't know who's hosting who right now. Like, are you hosting us? Are we hosting you?
It's your podcast. You got your chairs. You got your table.
Yeah, that's true.
So you still got it.
We did bring a lot of stuff over, but yes, thank you so much for saying yes to this idea. Scott and I always kind of thought it might be fun to not just be in our studio all the time, but try to like move around, like, because our setup is fairly lightweight. So I was like, what do you think of this idea? Scott's like, sure. And then you're like, absolutely. So thank you.
Yeah, it was a great idea. Love to have a little bit of fun.
And then we're like, who do you want to have on the show? And then you're just like, Jackie would be great. And we're like, okay, ask her. And she just said yes. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah, I'm glad to have Jackie on with us here because I've known Jackie for several years now, spanning before TechDisc. And I think she's got one of the more interesting stories in disc golf, which is great. I'd love to hear a little bit more about her story here. But I also want to talk a little bit about what we've got going on for GBO this year. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, Jackie and I have known each other for a little while, and she reached out and said, can we do something special for GBO, which we love GBO. So we said, yeah, let's figure out what to do. So do you want to announce what we've got going on here?
Yeah. Just before we get into that, like you say GBO, like you assume everybody knows what that is.
Yeah, I think everybody does know what it is.
I don't like, I didn't know, so like when I was getting into disc golf, like it was still GBO, so glass blown open, but then it became DDO, dynamic disc open, and now it's back to GBO.
Yes,
so
it is the glass blown.
Kind of like maybe walk us through a little bit of the history and like why is this such a big deal?
The Glass One Open is basically, it was just known for like this disc golf festival feel, I always described it as Christmas when I was working there because all of your friends and family, disc golf friends and family, came for the week. You did all the things, stayed up too late, played too much disc golf, partied too hard, whatever you do when you come to Emporia. And then they all leave and you're tired and you see them next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is like a festival.
Yeah. You block party, there's an ancillary events every night. The community gets in on it. Like you get to town and marquee say, welcome disc golfers.
Yeah.
It's just like this really cool disc golf meetup in a way.
It's really cool because like the whole city of Emporia is kind of in on it.
We love disc golf.
Yeah.
We have the hashtag Emporia knows disc golf.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the Glass Blown Open, and I know we did go to the Dynamic Disc Open, and then we just kind of want to bring that festival feel back, especially since we're not on the Pro Tour this year.
Yeah.
We are a Q Series, but we're not necessarily on the tour. But yeah, I wanted to do something special. We want to bring like just that exciting feel for amateurs, and I thought TechDisc would be a great way to do that. So we are actually doing Saturday. It's going to be TechDisc Saturday, and if you win your cards, if you shoot the hot round that day, you have a chance to win a TechDisc.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So like
That's awesome.
It's one of my favorite prizes in disc golf. I think my first tournament ever, there was a win your card prize, and I won it. And I got a water bottle. And I still have that water bottle because it's so special. But I think this is probably a little more fun than a water bottle.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And the entry fee is $150. So if you were to win one of these, it's like, pretty good, worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll obviously take some pictures and it'll be on the screen or whatever, but do you want to talk a little bit? Like there's a little bottom stamp here, right?
Yeah, so we really don't do much branding on our discs at all.
Right.
And so with this, we have our labeling on the bottom, but for the first time ever, basically some co-branding with the event, which I think came out really, really nice.
Yeah.
We try to keep things very clean and sharp.
Yeah.
And that bottom stamp is one of my favorite things that we've done. So I love it.
It is pretty cool.
Is the top stamp the?
Yeah, so like we probably could have left it blank, but we wanted it to be fun since you are winning your competition, and you can see it's a robot like holding chains, kind of just, killing it.
I think for Disc Golf Festival, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So it'll be cool, it'll be unique. There's only 150 of them. So it's also kind of like a collector's item in a way.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'll be on our like White Whales episode 10 years from now.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So pretty excited about it. And yeah, we've worked together for a while now. So it's been cool to go from like Bushnell to then now transition to work with you with TechDisc.
Yeah. I want to get into some of the, where we met, back in the day, but you've got a back in the day before that.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear
That's true.
some of your story of just getting into the sport, your relationship with Dynamic Discs, with Emporia, where that all came from.
So it'll be my 10th year at Dynamic in June. I didn't know anything about disc golf. I went to college in Emporia. I was getting ready to go into my senior year. And my friend Jacob, who actually is our art director, still there. He's been there for 11 years. He told me that they were hiring at the pro shop downtown. And I think I was working at T-Mobile at the time, and I was trying to like get out of that.
Yeah.
So even though I didn't know anything about disc golf, I knew how to pull an order. I knew how to work a register, basic customer service stuff. And I said, sure, why not? So yeah, I got the job. It was just pulling orders, online orders, helping in-store customers. It took about 2 weeks, and I was like, okay, I want to know how to play this. So my other friend, Kevin, who is also still at Dynamic, his 10th year, he took me out and taught me how to play Jones West. So that would be like my home course, I guess.
Yeah.
Started playing, and I got the bug just like everyone else does. I would go to work, like start closing 20 minutes before 6, so I could walk out at 6 and drive straight to West, play the 10-hole loop, and then, go home and do homework or whatever. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into it.
You kind of had a little bit of a tone there when you were like, sure, I'll come work at this store. Like, what was your thoughts on disc golf before like saying yes to working at this store?
I just didn't really have any thoughts. I was like, sure, cool. Like I can learn it. Like I've delivered sandwiches. I've learned how to sell phones, like stuff like that. I was like, let's try this. And I didn't really think much of it. I was like, I'm a college student, just wants kind of a more laid back job.
Okay. Yeah.
Got the job, and then now here I still am.
Sounds president in T-Mobile.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nothing against them, but yeah.
You're friends with him, so maybe this means like you kind of work with him a little bit too. Or,
Yeah.
Okay. So was there somebody at the store that you're like hand in hand working with that was like, hey, you should come play with us? Like, well, did somebody give you the first invite, or did you go out on your own and play?
No. So my friend Jacob, who helped me get the job, his friend Kevin, they both are still there. They're our art graphics guys. We were all hanging out, and I was like, I want to learn how to play. So they helped me get my first discs. I think I had like a Witness, a Pure. I still putt with the Pure. I'm one of those weird people that's never changed my putter. People like dabble. I've never.
There's still time.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Pure is so good. Trust that disc. But yeah.
You were interested, and
I was interested.
Out to them.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I got interested because I was like, pulling these discs and stuff and just kind of trying to learn more about it.
Right.
All of the women that I worked with at the store, none of them played. They knew a lot about like the products, but none of them played. So, I was like, I want to know how to do this. And my friend took me out to play, and he played baseball. and I played softball. So he was relating everything to that, like, you know, because it's a lot of the same motion.
Right.
And he goes, did you bat left or right? And I said, both. And he goes, okay. So I actually, the first few years I played disc golf, I was throwing with both. I was doing right and left.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting.
Yes.
And then I stopped doing that because I was like, I want to learn how to forehand and like do lines and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So you were backhand with both.
Backhand with
Which
both.
one took over?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I will use my left hand when I need to, but
How long did it take you to figure out which hand was dominant there?
I mean, almost 2 years.
Wow.
They're that similar.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I can smash a drive left-handed. Well, quick story. Sorry. I went to help out with Boy Scouts America. I guess it's just Scouts America now. Well, not this summer, but last summer. And these kids, we were like throwing right-handed, and they were like, "Okay, let's have a driving competition, but you have to use your left hand." And I was like, "You sure you want me to use my left hand?" And they're like, "Yeah." And they throw, and then I just smashed it, and they're like, "You threw that farther than you're right." It was pretty funny. Probably could have hustled them, but I'm nicer than that.
That's awesome. Okay, so you start playing, right?
Yeah.
With your friends. You're hooked?
I'm
or not
hooked.
hooked yet?
I'm hooked.
Okay.
I was like, trying to close, get out of the door at 6,
Yeah.
get to the course, play at least 10 holes.
Yeah. Were you playing with yourself or with other people joining you most of the time?
Both.
Yeah.
The guys would always go before me. They got off early, and then I'd have to catch up, or I'd just go by myself.
Yeah. And then were you like trying to get into leagues and play tournaments, or was this just like, I just love it, it's fun to be doing this?
I started to go to leagues, but I didn't go them as frequently. And then it had been about 8 months, and that's when I wanted to like play a disc golf tournament. And so I played the Monkey Island Open.
Okay.
It's at the end of March every year. Now I run it, which is weird. But that was my first tournament, and I think I got third. Played intermediate. The guys caddied for me and just kind of helped me out.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How was that experience in general?
It was awesome. It was definitely, I mean, you get nervous anytime you do something new or like compete or whatever.
Yeah, first time on a card with people you don't know.
But then I got like that competition, you kind of like, especially if you played sports growing up or just in that way, you kind of lose that competitiveness unless you are playing recreational stuff. But yeah, I got that competitive bug. And then after that, I really started going to tournaments and got my first one at intermediate women, which I thought was cool. I think I got 9 strokes better than the advanced woman. I played the course blind. I was like, okay, so then
Time to move up.
Yeah, then we went to Piney Woods, and that was awesome because I had like, I don't know, there was like 10 women in the division. I was like, this is cool. Like, so used to just like 5. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah. And then, I got more into it. And then I started running events. So
Yeah, talk about that transition, because right now you're just like pulling orders and shipping out, doing fulfillment.
Well, there's a lot of people who play disc golf and get the competitive bug. There's not that many who take the next step into actually running events and starting new events. And
that's been, which is so interesting to me. Because like everyone, obviously, there are people that want to be a professional, but there's so many other jobs in disc golf. I mean, look, you're
way more jobs.
you're making these little tiny computers that will help people get better.
Yeah.
And like,
Probably still easier than being a pro disc golfer, but yes.
like, what if that's a job in disc golf? You guys are hosting a podcast. Like, there's so many more things in disc golf. Anyways, I was pulling orders, was there for a year. Started helping with our customer service. When I graduated, they asked me to do customer service full time. I did that for about 4 years, and somewhere in there, I got promoted to store manager. So I was doing our live chat, doing our customer service emails, warranties for both DD and Latitude. And then I became our store manager, and I also, within that time frame, became our volunteer coordinator for Doug Bierkes, who was running all of our events. And now he runs the PDGA, which is kind of cool. But
I do want to take a quick detour into customer service, because I think customer service in disc golf can be fantastic and terrible.
Yes.
So I wonder if you've got any, really good or not so good stories from
Definitely.
time in disc golf customer service?
Definitely have a lot of bad stories, but I'm one of those people that I'm like more on the positive side than negative. Good stories. I made so many relationships with people virtually, and then they would come for events and I get to meet them in person. And like, that was so cool. And just creating those relationships year after year, like again, people coming back for events, like that was my favorite. I remember there was an elder woman who would call in and she would get a gift card for her sons or grandchildren or whatever every year, and I would help her purchase it, and she would call back the next year, and I always looked forward to her back. So when I stopped doing customer service, I would think about her. I'd be like, I hope she's doing okay.
Yeah.
Or there was another woman that I would help, and when I got out of customer service, so her husband and her son still come to play our events, and they always say, Billy said hi, and I'm like, oh, tell her I said hi,
That's wild.
So the relationships are like honestly my favorite part
I
of
don't think we
customer
had a
service.
relationship with customer service before.
Yeah.
I don't know if you
I haven't
feel the-
personally from
feel
that
the
end,
same
but from
way.
the customer service side of our business, absolutely. And it's actually pretty great. I would say most of our experiences have been really positive. It's a lot of like, I accidentally threw my tech disc into a hot tub.
Yeah.
What do we do now?
Yeah.
That's actually crazy. You're like, we didn't think about that, but now we have.
Now we have a couple times. But at least so far, our customer base has been really positive and just love the product. And I think disc golfers in general are a very positive, generous population. And so it's been pretty good. We've had our fair share of bad eggs, but on the whole, I think we probably have a better set of relationships through customer service than I would imagine most disc golf companies do.
That's good.
We have what we call a bullpen, which is like some guys just on basically a text thread, but one of them asked specifically about the live chat. If there's anything like, I don't know, was there anything interesting about live chatting through, I guess it's customer service live chat? Just
It was, sometimes it could be a lot because I'd have 5 different chats going on at the same time.
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny because sometimes I'd be like, do you guys have any judges? And then I would just like search judge, and, like, here's the link.
Yeah.
One of my favorite stories is one time someone asked me for Paige Pierce's number. They're like, hey, you got Paige Pierce's number? I'm like, yeah, I do. And they're like, seriously? I was like, yeah, hold on. And then I sent him her PDGA number.
oh, nice.
And he goes, like, oh, you didn't specify. My apologies.
That's pretty great. That was good.
I like that you just sort of embraced it and
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, hold on a second. It was fun though. Yeah, the live chat's fun, but it can definitely be whoever's doing it for you, like kudos to them because it can be a lot of work.
yeah.
I mean, you got a lot of conversations going on and you're trying to help as many people as you can while also maybe like answering a phone or answering someone that's coming into your office. And yeah.
So obviously you were doing like a pretty incredible job because were these positions that you like got promoted to, were they positions that opened up and you applied to, or they're just like, we need this position filled, we already know you'll be great at it?
A little bit of both. So volunteer coordinating. So I was there for a year, and then Doug asked if I wanted to do it for Pro World. So it was the first time I did that. And yeah, that's that disc right there. First year. And I think that's a brainwave die. But that was the first year I did volunteer coordinating. I said, sure, I'll try it. Why not? If I'm not good at it, I still have my job, it's just an additional to. And then
Sorry, this is how many years after you started?
a year.
Yeah.
A year.
Yeah.
Yep. A year after I started playing. And then
2016. Yeah.
2015 was when I started. And then, yeah, I loved it. Then I did it for GBO. And that was, I think it's that one. Yeah, with all the different signatures. And that would have been my second event doing volunteer coordinating for. And then I just kind of stuck with it while I was doing this other thing. The retail store manager job, like I was considered for it. I did get to like go do some other things too. Like I helped with trade shows for a while and stuff like that. But the event coordinating position, I actually asked about.
Okay.
And that's your current position?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I was already helping Doug and they were going to need someone. And I was like, could I do it?
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, if that's something, like they made sure it was something I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
And after I've gotten more into events, I think I know why they wanted to make sure, because it really is a lot of work.
Yeah.
But I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And I've gotten to meet really cool people like Michael through that too.
When you were, before that, when you were store manager, I think it's the first time that we met.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
Because we were, back when I was at Bushnell doing rangefinders, we were coming out with this rangefinder right here. And we were so excited about it because we spent so much time picking the color and doing the height and everything. And the first truckload, we worked like crazy to get it ready for DDO that year.
Yes.
For the dynamic disc open. And I'm not sure if this is right, but I feel like I was in the back of a U-Haul.
You were.
Like tossing you master packs.
Yes.
The first ever master packs of this disc golf rangefinder. And I was so excited because we put a ton of work into it. And like you were just as excited. And it was a magical.
We were stoked. We were like, yes, the race talk is here. Let's get it out there. Like,
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have better times ahead, but that sticks in my mind as one of the peaks, most fun I've ever had in disc golf.
cool. Very cool.
You still got it? Mm-hmm. Still use it?
I do.
Yeah.
I use it a lot for events,
Yeah.
especially when we're doing temp courses and I gotta shoot a distance to get on a sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the same model. I still use it.
Yeah.
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 But it was so
Basically
cool.
any part 4. Yes. It's coming out. Yeah.
But it's so cool to be able to hand that to you, have it for sale, and then be able to take my kid to the store later on in the year,
Yeah.
like buy the product off the shelves at your store. But then it's been cool to see you, move beyond that and do other things and be so involved in all the events that you're involved in.
So what was that first event that you said yes to this new position? What was that first event? What was sort of that first experience of going through it all, learning all of what it really takes to put on an event?
So my first event as event coordinator, that would have been I kind of was transitioning in 2021. And so I was assistant tournament director for Junior Worlds.
Junior Worlds.
Yeah.
Junior Worlds.
So, and that was actually, I remember you were at that block party.
With my kids.
You had your kids.
Yeah.
I remember sitting at your booth for a little bit because we had like a carnival. Like that was my first baby, I guess, in an event is Doug kind of, he did all of the event stuff because he was already planning that. But my role was to do the volunteer and then take care of like ancillary events, like check in, the block party. And so that was my first time really helping plan and like meeting with the city, going to city commission meetings, trying to like oversee all of the event forms we fill out, different things like that.
What does that process of getting the block party set up to run look like? Because as being a vendor there a couple times, it's very well run. You know exactly where you're going to be, and just what to expect. But it's a mass. You take over the city
Yes,
for a whole night.
we do.
It's got to be. I can't imagine what goes on behind the scenes.
So I have a really great help. We have Emporium Main Street, which is a nonprofit in town that helps with a lot of our ancillary events. Not just us, but other small businesses and things like that as well. But yeah, so I meet with them, tell them what what I'm thinking, and then we work together on the emergency planning and making sure we order enough trash cans and porta-johns and fill out a street closure form and make sure all of our things are squared away so that we can have this safely. And then we work on a map, get everything marked. We actually go out and chalk the areas, make sure you know where you're going to be. Look at where power is. So if people are requesting power, just all we look at it all.
It's a lot.
Is this a pre-made list for you to be like, hey, this is everything you gotta go do? Okay.
Yep.
At this point, it's probably.
Yep. I've got a checklist, a timeline. I call it my playbook, I guess. And it's like, I've got everything I need to do on courses. I've got a course asset plan. So I know what hole a tent is going to go on and how many stakes it needs, like all of that planned to a T. And that's just kind of I need to know, okay. And it makes it so much easier. So I'm not trying to do it the day of or something like that. And if I'm going to have volunteers or people helping, I want to set them up for success. I'm not going to be like, okay, I need you to go set this up. And if some people don't know, some people are volunteering and they have never been to a disc golf tournament. So I'm like, okay, here's a map. the map literally shows like where the tent should go, you know, and then there's a list of, okay, you should have this, this, and that. Here's a hammer, all that stuff. So I literally am planning all of that out. And that's what I'm working on a majority of the year, is planning out what the block party is going to be like, planning out my asset plans, going hole by hole, picking out layouts, doing the course notes, working with different entities to make this all happen. Yeah. And I kind of learned all that doing that with Doug. So like Junior Worlds was that first time, and I kind of had like dipped my toes in. And then 2022, I was the tournament director for the A-tier Dynamic Disc Open, Pro Tour side and that side. And then I was assistant tournament director for Pro Worlds, because there was a rule or something that I wasn't allowed to be the tournament director. You have to like do an A-tier before you can, there's like a step before you can be a major. So then, I got into that. And then after that, I've been the tournament director for everything else.
Was there a difference in like how each of those events felt? Because you kind of stepped up from, Junior Worlds. Imagine DDO is probably a little bigger than that. And then Worlds probably
was
more pressure, bigger than that, a longer timeline.
Yeah.
Did it feel like running the same playbook over and over, or did it feel like a lot more pressure with each step?
Yeah. So a lot of it feels the same in the way that like the planning process is the same, but some things are different. Parking is always a huge thing, and like trying to figure out where people are going to park in Emporia. That's a big one. Yeah. So and kind of figuring out bus routes and things like that, because we were doing a bus route, to drop off players and things like that. So there was a little bit more pressure, I think, with the title of an event. So like Professional Worlds, like pressure comes with the title just alone. So making sure everything's good. Because it's not just your name, it's the PDJ's name, it's the city of Emporia, anyone who's involved with it, basically. But I have said, and I don't mean it like it's just like a walk in the park, but I have said that as I've done it more, it's gotten easier. Obviously, repetition with anything, but the people that I have helping me, like, yes, I'm maybe planning it, but the people that are helping me are amazing, and they help me so well that it makes it easy.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. Well, and I'm sure your playbook, and then them being able to see the playbook.
Yes. Yeah, like here's everything you need to know.
Right.
I'm not kidding about setting people up for success. Like I'm trying to do my best to make sure everyone else is successful. Especially just like as an vendor, like I want to make sure you guys have maps and your rules and everything. So you're not just coming and being like, we're not,
Yeah.
I would hate
I feel like I see the same volunteers in Emporia year after year after year, which has got to be probably a testament to how well things are run and how fun it is, even to work the event. But probably makes your life a lot easier to have people who are regulars almost.
Yeah, I love that when I see like, they're a veteran volunteer. You guys got this. I'll be over here. You need me. Yeah, same thing with our course directors. Some of them have been coming for the last 9 years. Like, they know what it's coming. They come here and they're like, this is easy. We got you, whatever. And I'm like, are you sure? Like, is there anything else I can do? And they're like, Jackie, calm down.
I've heard tournament director, event coordinator. You just said course director.
Yeah.
Can you define sort of the differences between these three things?
No, it gets kind of confusing.
4 or 5 other ones you haven't mentioned.
So I call, as an event director, I guess like overseeing the entire event. Like I'm directing the entire event. Tournament director, like that's my name on the event, because like I'm the person who sanctioned it, and like I'm putting the budget and stuff like that into it.
Official PDGA term for.
And then course director are the people that I hire to then be at a course and make sure that you get off on your tee time at the right time, make sure to answer any questions about rules right there on the course, be there from sun up to sundown, basically. That's a course director.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because you have multiple courses running at the same time.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't be in multiple places.
Yep. Anywhere from 4 to 6 courses, it seems like.
Have there been any crazy, unexpected moments in the tournaments that you've been TD or event director for?
Yeah. Rain.
Always rain.
Just rain on rain.
I remember one surprise, like tornado or microburst at a bonfire a couple of years back.
Yeah, I do remember that.
It was not fun.
No, we were like watching it, and I was doing tee times in my car on a laptop, and like the wind was blowing so terribly bad. And yeah, we were like watching it, and I do remember that. That was the bonfire. But rain's a huge thing. Weather, honestly.
Is that the
It's
worst
weather.
possible thing? Is having to like pause around and like schedule 4 cards for the morning?
Yeah. And it just sucks too, because one year we had, I think, 6 or 7 courses. And so there was 2 that were 45 minutes outside of town, and one of them flooded. And so that pool only got to play 2 rounds. So they technically had a B tier. And so it really sucked for them because they didn't get the full experience. And it is tough because you like want to make sure everyone gets the best experience they can have, but some things are just out of your control.
Yeah.
Is there anything you're looking forward to by just bringing back GBO? You know, kind of almost like we were talking about the festival, like getting outside of the tour and having it be your guys' tournament again.
Yeah.
Is there anything like really exciting about that in particular?
Yes. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I love running majors and pro tour events. Like, I love being able to provide that for players. But I do get excited about just running like an A tier that I don't have to follow any specific rules other than what the PDGA rules are for A tiers. There's no additional things that I have to go through or specific contracts and agreements that I have to go on. It's solely our event. And so I'm really looking forward to like bringing that grassroots feel back to the event and back to disc golf in Emporia.
Yeah. How much outside influence is there from the Pro Tour or the PDJ when you're running, a Pro Tour or Worlds? Because I'm not sure that even, I know how much is under your guys' control and how much is under PDJ's control, Pro Tour's control, or whatnot. How does that balance of power work?
It's kind of interesting because it really is tough because it's like your event, but it's not in a way.
Yeah.
So you're doing all the legwork on the ground, and then when they come to town, they are helping too. But yeah, there is a lot of like boundaries or rules, like having it set up specific date, so many days in advance. Like for a Pro Tour event, no one else can have access to that course, only the pros. So then that takes a course out of rotation, Whereas like if we're running an A tier without a Pro Tour event happening, I can use all 4 courses or something like that. So yeah, it kind of goes back and forth on that. It's like there are some things we just can't do because of XYZ.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is there, what was my question? Is it just in general, is there anything that you guys are like looking to maybe improve on your tournaments? Like you're bringing back GBO, that's fantastic. But is there anything you guys are sort of like would love to improve on?
Aside from like the amazing win your card.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually one of the things that are going to be incredible. But
Definitely just improving back on that. Like again, bringing back to disc golf, back to grassroots. The disc golf's always going to be there, when people come to in a tournament, but really setting things aside, just like anyone would, like setting your podcast aside, setting your product, aside, like what makes it stand out. It's just kind of comes down to you and what you want out of it. So yeah, I'm excited to just kind of put that grassroots feel back into it, get people just more laid back, have a good time, but then know that like the disc golf portion is always going to be like a prestigious part, like we're gonna paint everything, make sure you've got the best notes you can have. So we definitely pride ourselves in making sure we have everything prepped and ready to go in time.
Yeah.
Making sure it's the best it can be.
I mean, it sounds like you got the preparation of Worlds going into the Glass Blown Open.
Yes, pretty much. Just kind of crazy to think about. One of my coworkers told me that it's actually a disservice that I've never had to run a tournament at a park on my cell phone Wi-Fi, like without all of the stuff DD provides.
Yeah.
Because that is how my brain thinks immediately. These checklists, when I'm like, oh, we're just running a C tier, Jackie, like chill. Yeah.
Glass Blown Open comes from how the trophies are made.
Yes. Yeah.
Is that still a thing?
Yes. Okay. So Eric McCabe and Gabe Worley, they actually started the event. I think it's 2003. Glass Blown Open, something like that. It was about that time.
I don't know, but that sounds good to me.
2003 sounds right.
2003. And Hal Berger, I think, or it's Hellberger or Berger. I don't remember how to pronounce his last name, but he's a very he was a world-renowned glassblower. And then when he passed away, someone who studied under him, his name's Bryce Turnbell, he's actually out of Colorado. He started making them for us, and he still makes them. We order them every year. You still get that glass blown ball every time you come to.
They're gorgeous.
Yeah, they are. And it's kind of cool to see how they have evolved over time. We have a little museum. If you're ever in Emporia, come by the headquarters, we'll give you a tour, but we have a little museum and you could see some of those older trophies and the original one that like the pros used to hold up on that final day. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, still got the glass blown balls. We'll have them this year.
That's great.
And they just keep getting I think they just keep getting bigger, to be honest. Yeah.
So how do you guys like celebrate a huge event you just finished?
I get a cherry limeade. I literally just drive to Sonic and get a cherry limeade. Yeah.
Just so good, by the way.
They are. And honestly, it tastes so good too. They just worked all this crazy amount of hours and you're like, this is so refreshing.
Yeah. A little sugar rush.
Yeah. And I really I just try to drink water all week anyway. So it is kind of a,
Yeah.
Oh, a little sweet treat.
yeah, cherry limeade. But yeah, after doing these big events, there's that sense of, well, now what? And I remember having that feeling after Junior Worlds, the first time I helped, and I was like, we just unloaded the trailer and all of us high-fived and stuff, and we were like, all right, yeah, see you tomorrow. And then I was driving, and I remember just thinking to myself, well, now what? What do I do? So I just drove to Sonic and got a cherry limeade, and now I do it after every single event.
Tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The tradition.
That's great.
When I don't do it, it's weird. I'm like, dang, I forgot to do my cherry limeade.
But what is that like next Monday, that next week as a company?
As a
Are you guys celebrating? Or are you sort of
some people never stopped doing, their regular job. They're still filling orders and things.
Right.
The difference is just there's not so many people coming through the warehouse. And then for me, I'm just filling out reports, paying PGA fees, sending out emails, thanking people, trying to get things squared away, getting things put back where they're supposed to go in the event shed. And then taking maybe a few days of rest.
Yeah.
And then just start back over.
Mm-hmm.
So how long were you planning? Because you said start back over. So is that for next year?
Yeah.
Immediately?
Yeah, because we'll do a recap meeting and then we're
Okay.
how can we improve next year? And then sometimes if I know that it's so tough because you can't sanction an event until the A tier form goes out.
Yep.
So I kind of just reserve stuff on hold, hoping that we get rights to the same weekend we always do, just so no one else will reserve the spots that I need during that time.
Because that's in October that the A tier list is released?
Yeah.
Or something like
So I
that.
start conversations for stuff in July. And then I really start nailing down plans in December. And some people, they get my emails and then I'll see them in public and they'll be like, I know you sent me an email, the city, and right before Christmas. And I'm like, I know, I'm so sorry. I'll send you another one, but if I didn't send it before Christmas, I would forget. And then all of a sudden, 4 months flies by and it's time for an event. So yeah, some things just kind of, that planning just keeps starting.
When you're in disc golf, it's definitely nicer to send the emails earlier rather than later, because you're probably the only one sending it early, which is super nice
That's good to know.
from our side. Yes.
I was gonna say, because I emailed you and
There-
did I November?
Yes.
Okay.
This has been in the works for, I want to say 6 months,
Probably.
if not longer. Not that it had to be, but for us, still being a newish company, trying to plan our production needs and capacities, it was incredibly helpful and maybe the only reason we could actually get it done.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's plenty of other people who will email too late. So it's always appreciated.
We're working with some other people too for player pack items. We're working with SOAR, Tyler Searles group, and I had to start early with him as well because sometimes when you're mass producing stuff, it does take a little bit longer to get it all squared away.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm curious to know about I know I just kind of talked to you a little bit about it, but the vendor side of prep stuff,
Yeah, sure.
like what goes into that? Because I don't know. You guys show up and I'm like, is there anything I can do? I want to know.
So we've been at a couple different events, obviously at some of your events and some other events around the country. We try to run the same playbook at all the events where you got a pop-up tent and then some kind of experience, a throwing net, something there. So usually once we're at the event, it's fine, but getting all of our gear to the event and understanding what to expect once we get there is always a bit of a hassle and a mystery. So I think you guys do a great job planning out and communicating, here's the map of vendors, here's the space you're going to have. If you want power, check this box. If you want to borrow tables and chairs, like, yes, please check this box. The less stuff I have to bring, the better. So that stuff is a huge stress reliever because a lot of other events, are either in a park or in some area where they have less control over the situation. And so there's a guaranteed 12 hours of freak out and then everything is fine and the event runs and it's fine. But
Yeah. Once an event starts, you can't stop it. Well, everything you've done to that point,
it'll usually be fine.
it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so like when you guys come to events, do you bring stuff to sell or do you just kind of only focus on the experience part?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
At least for TechDisc right now, the more valuable part is just to get people hands-on with the product because there's such an educational piece of it that it's just valuable to talk people through what is the product. You're throwing nose up, what does that even mean? And how do you fix it? So being able to have those conversations in person is super valuable. We will sell some when we can. But so when we were at Bushnell, we would sell product on site, and that was a lot easier because there's less of an education part of it. People kind of knew what to expect. They were just happy to see you. And it was amazing how many people would come up and say, oh, I've been, love to see you guys here. I'm so excited. I've been meeting kids for a while. Today's it. I'm gonna do it today.
Yeah.
I'm brainstorming about GBO, so I'm gonna have some things. Yeah, no, I'm like,
curious
no.
if you've been to other events around the country or world, because I know you said you like to get out there and travel a little
I
bit.
do. I want to do it more all the time. I'm like, send me to Worlds this year. I got my passport.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna be feasible, but
Next year, right? Just got announced.
yeah, it did.
Yeah.
That'll be a good venue.
Yep.
It'd be cool.
Yeah. I'm curious if you've seen other events at the scale of what you've run.
Yes.
What you thought.
Yeah, so that was like part of the thing when I first became the event coordinator was I was supposed to go to 2 events a year to just kind of observe. And that's actually how the first one I went to was the Preserve. And I went in the DDRV with 2 friends, Gabe and Logan. Logan plays, and then Gabe was the team manager at the time. We drove 10 hours in that thing. It was fun. But that was the first time I had gone to an event, a DGBT event outside of Emporia. And that's how I got the idea for golf carts shuttling. Because they had a golf cart shuttling from one hole to another. And I was like, we should do this. So we did.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the cool things about going to other events is like picking up things I want to do, picking up things I don't want to do. But like any event, it doesn't even have to be a disc golf event. It could be you go to a speaker and you liked the way that they interacted with the crowd and like, okay, well, I'm going to have to give a player meeting. I want to add this in. It's just, my brain's just always thinking like that. Just as like a graphic designer probably looks at a graphic and goes, I wish they used a different font. Like, how my brain is constantly working.
So is GBO your sole focus throughout the whole year, or are there other events that you're maybe not your primary focus, but you're helping with?
Yeah, so I usually run about 5 events a year.
Okay.
And then on top of like when I'm not doing that, I'm planning, I'm hosting a clinic, I'm doing a presentation, I'm going to a city meeting downtown, something like that. So we usually have 2 majors. So this year we have Junior Worlds and the Glassbone Open. And then I'll host 3 B tiers, and that will be Monkey Island Open, Hand-Eye Classic, and the Emporia Ladies Open. And so I'm working on those as well. So I'm trying to get everything, many things as I can get done now, so that I'm better set up for success then. Because while these other events are happening, I still have to do my day-to-day jobs. I still have to be planning. So I try to get a lot done in January, February.
This is the time to do it.
Yeah, because, disc golf goes through like February through November. The people that like play the longest, and then like March to October is probably more of the sweet spot. But the Emporia Ladies Open is actually the very first event I tournament directed before I was the tournament director.
Okay.
The event coordinator.
Tell us that story.
So
Is that this?
yeah, so I've got the Ladies Open. This was the first year. We were so excited. This is a one-day only event. So Denise Cameron and I are co-tournament directors for this event, and we were stoked. We had just been kind of talking about it. We were office neighbors at the time, and we went and played Divas Spring Fever, which is in Kansas City here. And we were like, we kind of want to do something like this. So we talked to Doug, and we said, asked if he'd help us. And I actually have a picture of Denise and I, that was our first tournament together. It was a one-day only event. It's a 2-day event now. We're getting ready to do this for our 7th year. But this would have been in 2019. And I didn't become the event coordinator until 2021.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and we had 70 ladies come that morning.
That's awesome.
They played two. Yeah, for the first one.
Wow.
Yeah, they played 2 rounds. That first round, it rained and rained. So the second round, we had to move pins. I learned a lot. Doug, he was there the whole time. He's like, all right, you all are going to have to make a decision, and I helped with check-in and we figuring out the player pack and learning a budget. Yeah, and it rained that whole first round. And so we had to shorten the course for second round because we were running out of daylight. Yeah. And that's one thing people don't really think about either, is you can't have people playing in the dark.
Yeah.
But it was so cool. We had 70 ladies come out. Ever since then, we've had between 70 and 80. And someday, Denise and I are going to get 100 ladies at that event.
Yeah.
When is it this year?
It's in October, first weekend of October every year.
Sign up. Can I sign up right now?
Well, not you specifically.
I said they.
I don't remember when registration opens, but it is followable on Disc Golf Scene.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
I've got all my events up on there. And Denise and I do wind chimes for the trophies every year. So this is a really old...
I was curious what this was.
Yeah, this is a really old wind chime, and it actually hangs outside my house, and I hear it all the time. But the first year we engraved them ourselves.
That's a great idea.
Now, so when the wind blows, victory.
Yeah.
Here it is.
It always probably reminds you a little bit of that day.
Yeah, that first day. And we've done wind chimes every year. We've made them more colorful. Now we get the pieces engraved by someone more professional than we did.
Yeah.
And it's just a women's festival. First day's tea times, we do the tee off song. That evening we do a player party, and then the next day we do shotgun start, and then afterwards we do awards and our group picture and things like that. So yeah, I've always that was actually the reason I started running this event. Was I went to an event and there were no open bathrooms on the course, and I was an intermediate woman playing from MPO pads, and I was being asked to play faster. Our group was being asked to play faster, and I said, I think I could do better than this. So we hosted our own women's event where there were several bathrooms and everything you needed.
Yeah.
The correct layouts for people, and yeah.
That's awesome.
So you hosted this first one. It sounds like a lot happened. It's everything that could happen kind of happened. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, this was great. And then you continued on to do more.
Yeah.
So you clearly are the right person for this kind of job.
I think the reason I love it so much is because I'm creating an experience for someone else to enjoy.
Yeah.
And that's huge for me. I love seeing other people just joy, I feel as we get older, joy just kind of comes out of your everyday. You don't really think about it as much. You're not very positive. And that's just the way of life. Stressors you become an adult, all that. But in this position, I get to see more joy than, I don't know, maybe I would otherwise. I don't know.
Like, I mean, you're still working at T-Mobile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phone.
This stuff probably brings more joy than cell phones do.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said for working in somebody's hobby. Something that
True.
inherently
Yeah.
do it because they love it.
Yeah.
And that's you've got a unique opportunity to help them love it even more and make that one
Exactly.
weekend where they're focused on their hobby for that weekend, make that even better.
And that kind of goes back to that saying of like the disc golf's always going to be there. Whatever tournament you go to, the disc golf's going to be there. The thing you're going to remember is the experience you had.
Right.
Unless you win or you had a terrible round, you remember that, like, you know? But yeah, creating these like safe spaces for women to really get into the sport, because there's still only like 12% of the PDGA, or just even like juniors being able to come play at a juniors world and know that the block party is going to be catered to them.
Yeah.
You know, or like the events happening in town that week are catered to them.
Yes.
That's just thinking about our audience. And that's, I don't know, I'm a very empathetic person and I am way too considerate. Way too considerate.
Like, that was one of the more magical pieces of Junior Worlds, was that block party, which is normally an adult oriented block party, but it was focused on kids, and kids were kind of running the show.
They were.
And it was hilarious and
We
fun.
had dunk takes, we had obstacle courses, a rock wall climbing place, and there was obviously beer for the adults, you know, for their kids, but like it was geared toward kids because the event was for kids, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
I think it's great that you have a nice radar on that. You're focused on the experience of like, who are the particular people that are
Yes.
playing this event. It's not just like, oh, disc golf event, check these boxes, everybody will have fun. It sounds like you're like, no, but like, who are the people coming?
And that's
Right.
that's who it is. And if you're not thinking about the who, like who wants to come to your event?
Yeah. Because they're gonna walk away
running
like,
for you.
like they didn't have this for me.
No, I'm not running these events for myself. Like I'm running these for vendors to make money, you know, and get their products out there. I'm running these for people to have a good experience and just create memories. And
Yeah.
that's what it's about to me.
That's great. Love it. I want to ask a little bit about just, we don't have to get crazy here, but Dynamic Disc in general is now owned. It's just a whole different scenario.
Yeah.
Right? Like how does the work culture over the last year feel now versus then, or is it changed at all, or?
I mean, I'll be honest, like it's been a roller coaster.
Yeah.
There's been good, there's been bad, there's been everything in between. That's just with any growing company you're ever going to have. There's going to be growing pains. There's going to be transitions. I would say in the last few years, I know they tried things and maybe some of them didn't work out, but that's the way it goes. And I think now we're in more of a position where we know that from here on out, like we're making just intentional decisions to, you know, again, get back to disc golf, grassroots, make sure our employees have jobs, you know, and stay there at a place that they love to work. And then also just like work with the House of Discs and all these great brands. So yes, we've got the House of Discs now. And so we've got Discmania, Castaplast, Latitude, Dynamic, Westside, Hand-Eye, Spin-Off Games, Huck Lab. So like all of these brands are working together now. And like Latitude has these like Porsche, Ferrari players, you know, they're up there. That's what they're, you know, going to focus on. We're going to focus on the grassroots and getting back to how DD started and just, you know, being that silly goofy, like, you know, and like.
No, but back to like, I feel like the people falling in love with Dynamic Disc, there was that sort of culture and brand. And sort of, it was clear who you were targeting.
Right.
Yeah, you've got the beginner discs that are in Walmarts, right? Like, yeah, they're just everywhere. It's really easy to get started.
So it's been really cool. It's like, yeah, we had some growing pains, but now we have all these brands that are working together and we know that we all don't need to be doing the same thing. So working on these new goals of like what we want to see, what they want to see, like Discmania has like kind of like these hero brands, you know, things like that with these big players like Gannon and stuff like that. And then, yeah, so I'm really excited for where we're going. And like, it's been really cool too, to have leadership that's super transparent about like what's happening, why it's happening, what our projections are. So yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you still have a lot of the people who were around 10 years ago.
Yes. Yeah. We're celebrating.
It was pure grassroots.
We're celebrating 10 years, 11 years. Our IT guy just celebrated his 18th. He was like one of those first core employees. I know. Crazy. Because, so this will be our 20th year in business. So in March, we'll be doing some celebrations with some special releases to those 2005 like stamps and designs we had that maybe we're not on DD discs, maybe, like Discraft or things like that.
I might have some wizards, yeah.
Yeah. So
A little brief history is like Rusko started in his college house as an eBay brand that would just like stamp and dye Discraft discs and things like that, and then sell it on eBay.
And then he started
like that grew to be like he had 60 dye stations in his house, and then that grew to be like, oh, now we have like a real business with employees and stuff.
Yeah.
And then now you're kind of hitting this sort of like corporate level.
Yeah.
So the growth over that has been humongous.
It's a really interesting mirror to the sport. To grow the sport.
Honestly. Yeah. Because it did. It started out this like just kind of this backyard thing.
Yeah.
And now it's like this huge global corporation. Yeah.
Multinational corporation, multiple brands, yeah.
So it really feels like all of these brands under this house of discs, you guys feel like you're really working together sort of as a team? It's not like this inner competition or like trying to it's like
No.
got your lanes that you guys are all sort of like trying to work in as
Like we're all working together in a way. I'm like, yes, we want each brand to succeed because that's what makes the brand.
Right.
But yeah, we're all under House of Discs and we're all working on different goals to provide the disc golf community what it needs. Because we don't all need to be doing the exact same thing.
Right.
But yeah, like really putting our heads together and using our resources in a way, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I've heard you say grassroots a lot tonight, but just is there sort of a definition of what you mean by grassroots in disc golf, or like what you're trying to do with GBO and have sort of a grassroots feel?
Yeah, it's
like,
just
what does that really kind of mean?
kind of just like back to that, like the basics almost. When disc golf was just more, not to say that it's not fun, but just more kind of that laid back vibe. You're having a good time. Yeah, you feel comfortable getting into the sport.
Okay.
Really local backyard, like in your community, something like that. Does that make more sense?
It's like different when your friend is teaching you about discs than like when, a 30-second ad on TV is teaching you about discs. Like more towards it's your friend telling you what, what does this disc do for you?
Yes. And the grassroots too really are all of those tournament directors that are hosting leagues and their own events in their communities and like supporting them, because those are the people that help build our business. Right. All those smaller retailers and those TDs that order discs from us, like really getting back to supporting them and just spreading that more. Because there's a lot of people out there in disc golf who are running events that don't know that we offer tournament sponsorships, and like we literally can help you, get wholesale costs and make running an event so easy with custom discs and towels and apparel, and we can help you with your graphics and all that stuff. So really getting back to like, hey, we can help you get better at disc golf, get into disc golf, run an event.
Yeah. Make sure that grassroots disc golf is really thriving.
Yeah.
Yeah. In every way. Yeah.
Yeah. Those road warriors that are in the RVs, like Ty and Matt Lloyd and Steve-O out of Texas, like they used to go all over the States too. Just 2-disc challenge, pop up. Hey, we're at this park. What's this? You should play, kind of back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
We've talked in our office. We'd love to see the comeback of the 1-day, 2-round C tiers. Paper scorecards, maybe
Ooh.
not. But,
I don't know, man.
one focus day of like get all your competition in that day, and then move on to the next day.
Yeah, we've got a few here in Kansas City that are like that, like Rosedale Cup.
Yes. That used to be the one I would play every spring. It was like my first one.
Yeah, I remember playing Rosedale. I would like to come back for some of those. We have some other entities in Emporia who started doing those one-round C tiers, and I get to play them, and I'm so excited because I don't ever get to play because I'm usually hosting.
Yeah.
So that's been really fun. Yeah, I love that.
Are you still as competitive as?
I played MA3 this last time because there was no ladies signed up, and I think I wasn't far off. I ending up in like the middle somewhere, but at first, I was trying to be really competitive with them. It was so much fun. It was so fun. There was like 20 people in the division, and I was like, "What's this?" Because the girls' division really is usually only a few people.
Yeah.
I'm still competitive.
I absolutely fell in love with the 2-round 1 day.
Really?
That's when I got started. It was like all I played. I thought it was amazing.
Do you still play?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So I'm getting back into the local stuff, but yes, there's those Rosedale Cup that is 2 rounds 1 day, shotgun start both rounds. I'm like, I love it.
I just love that you're all locked into one course together.
Yeah.
Like you go do 1 round. All right, check the scores.
Yep.
And
You're at lunch at like Wendy's or something.
Yeah.
Something kind of quick.
Like,
Scores are there, and like, is the ratings up yet? Not yet. Not yet. And then they're up.
Yeah,
And like, you see who you get carded with, and then you're right back at it.
Yeah.
And then the morning round weather could be one way, then the afternoon.
Yeah. Oh my
I
gosh.
think some of the flex start like 1-rounder things have lost a little bit of that because you're not all locked in at one time together.
You're just kind of there.
It's also
Kind of there whenever you're in and
with
out
your
wherever.
friends. Making your.
It's also interesting with those because I've thought about that, and I'm wondering like how many people are missing out on that full experience with the flex start, or even just like knowing rules and things like that.
Maybe I'm old, but I think a lot of people are missing out on that.
Yeah.
It's definitely harder. It takes more time from you. So the 1-rounders are more accessible. Yeah, which is great. But you're not really forced into a community. You probably don't get to know the other people
Because
playing with as well.
I love hosting all these events and having like the same people come out or just like watch them move divisions or
It's also something that's really convenient with that whole like 2-round 1 day because you already know your tee time. Things I hear from like friends that like want to play tournaments or they have play tournaments, but it's 1 round per day. The biggest complaint is just like, I hate that I don't know what my tee time is until like 9 o'clock the day before. Like I have a family of 5 people.
Yeah, I get that.
I need to know what time my tee time is. And so they don't love that aspect. And then they play, and then they have to sit there and wait till the next tee time. And their wives or whatever are asking like, when are you playing? Like, I don't know.
Well, Monkey Island Open is a 1 day, 2 rounds B tier at the end of March.
Oh.
It's only an hour and a half away.
It's awesome. So it's sound pretty good.
I was going to do something kind of fun where like I got on the DD website and it has a little bit of like your favorites.
Oh,
but it's
okay.
from like 3 years ago, it looks like, or 4 years ago.
It might be.
I'm just curious if these are still the same. The first one actually you already answered. Favorite disc?
The Pure.
The Pure.
I love the Pure. If you don't have a Pure, I don't know why.
Favorite course?
Peter Pan or Hammond, but Peter Pan because I love that course. It's so technical and it's shorter. So like for a woman who can't throw like 500 feet, it's just great. Yeah. And it's where we have our ladies event. So
That's what you said, Peter Pan. Favorite place to eat in Emporia?
it used to be Amanda's, but they closed recently. I'm really sad about it. But now I love Gravel City. Oh my gosh. It's a coffee shop, but they have smoothies and salads and soup. You just never know what you're going to get when you go in there. And the vibe's great. Yeah.
That's consistent.
I know what I like.
Yeah.
Favorite musical artist?
Oh gosh. That changes so frequently.
Yeah.
Currently it's Casey Musgraves. That one's probably Maren Morris.
Yeah.
Or Maggie Rogers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yep. Favorite movie?
Oh my gosh. That always changes too. I love The Princess Bride. It's so witty.
That's more my wife.
Dry humor. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's,
That's what you said?
Okay.
Yeah.
Or because sometimes it goes back and forth to, is it 10 Things I Hate About You? Yeah. with Heath Ledger. Yeah, I love that one too.
Favorite sports team / athlete?
I think that I wrote Paige Pierce, duh.
Yep. You didn't say duh, but you did say Paige
I
Pierce.
think I wrote duh, and then I think they took it off because they were like, but yeah, she's really good friends with one of my really good friends. So I actually met Paige before I even knew who she really was.
Okay.
So like when I found out she was like a professional disc golfer, I was like, oh, I just had no idea. But even after she wasn't done, or she was done with us, like, yeah, I still have Paige, but I do actually really love Kristen Guitar. She's just so humble. Yeah, and like just the stories I hear from people about her too is they're just great. She's great.
That's to be the common thing is Kristen Lott.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right, Kristen Lott. Thank you for the correction.
Yeah.
All good. Last one, tee off song.
Pour Some Sugar on Me by Def Leppard or Sweet Child of Mine, Guns N' Roses.
That's it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You want consistent and a cherry limeade.
And Cherry Limeade. Love that.
That's awesome.
Those are both of those songs have great intros for tee off.
Yeah.
I grew up with a mom who loved like hair bands and basically every genre under the sun. So still sticks with me.
So we actually have a few homies in the building, and I got a mic little set up. Do we have any questions before we wrap up?
Okay, so a fun question we like to ask around the office is if you could have a card of your choice. So you and 3 professional players, male or female, who would it be and why?
Good question.
I've been asked this before. It's too hard for me.
It's too hard for you?
It's serious, sir?
I'm gonna start with Paige Pierce.
I just love so many of those players. Like Madison Walker, I love her so much. She stays with me every time she comes to Emporia. I would wish she could be my roommate, to be honest. She didn't live in Pensacola. Gosh, it's so hard. Do you know?
I mean, that's a card right there. Paige Pierce, Kristen,
That's true.
Madison, you. It's not fun.
It does sound fun.
That's a really tough question.
It is a tough question.
I think I don't have a good reason for it, but I'd probably have to go Climo, Nico, and Kristen.
And Kristen? Yeah. And the thing is, too, is I've gotten to play with them already, like a lot of them already.
There you go.
And so I think that might also be hard. Why it's hard? Because then I would want to pick people that I've never played with. And then I just don't even know. Yeah.
Can you answer that question?
Dude, I don't
You
know.
want to pass?
Yeah.
Is it too hard?
It is hard.
It is tough. I would definitely do Paul Macbeth. He's always been like the player for me. And that's just kind of my generation of when I got
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I guess currently I'd probably just throw Ricky and Gannon on there. Just why not throw the top 2 players out there right now? I just feel like I'm such a learner that I just want to watch them get close and watch how they play and just hear their back talk and as far as what they're thinking for each shot or things like that. So I would probably take that opportunity to try to learn some stuff.
Yeah.
That's very wise.
Yeah.
See, when Worlds was here in 2009, I saw Climo and Nico at Waterworks, and Climo called a football to Nico. And that interchange was electric. So I want to watch those guys go back and forth at it, and then Kristen and I can just be standing on the side and be like, ooh,
That was electric.
that's electric.
I got to, one of the coolest things, this kind of sparked a memory, is I was caddying for Paige at 2016 World's Doubles, and she was playing with Germ, and she aced hole 10 at East. That was the first ace I ever saw, and I was like, what just happened?
Was that doubles world champion?
Yeah. I was like, it was wild. It was electric.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Any other questions?
I guess if you could teleport in time and be part of any part of any disc golf tournament in the history of the sport, where would you go and what would you want to see?
That's a tough one.
I know. I think I would want to go to the very first worlds or major event, just to see how much it's changed to now. And I think I'd also want to teleport to the future because the very first worlds outside of like North America, that's going to be something for the books. I just know it.
Yeah.
So not even that far in the future.
No, it's not that far in the future.
I thought you're like future. I was like, okay, 10 years from now.
No,
Like,
just,
okay.
yeah.
Just
That would be interesting.
I like the idea of going back to the past and just seeing like the different discs they're throwing, just even the distance, but it's still like just as competitive, probably. You know?
yeah.
And to just see like how they grind it, because everyone has a van now, you know, and like do their tour life, and it's a little bit different. But then, yeah, like just to go back to see what did they have available to them? There was no coverage, you know, maybe someone snapped a photo. It'd just be interesting to see.
Yeah.
I feel like one of the USDGCs back then, like a Climo Schultz battle or something. Or
So I started playing disc golf here, but really grew up in disc golf in college in Northern Indiana.
Okay.
And so like all the tournament directors there, the people, the courses, like that's really kind of my home for disc golf. And they had Worlds in '96. And I heard that Climo birdied every hole on like the main course we played all the time at Ron Village. So I'd want to go back then,
That's crazy.
see all the people I know, like, but 15 years younger,
Yeah.
and then see if he really did
Yeah.
birdie every hole there.
Like they say.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Dave, you got a question? Any more questions? Sweet. Well, I've got a few gifts. Can I give you some gifts before you go?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, I've knocked it over. I have my little box here.
What's in the box?
Cool. Well, shout outs a little bit, but BKS Artisan Ales in Brookside, they're always supporting the show by delivering beer, like literally delivering now. Alex showed up at our studio now 2 weeks in a row or whatever and brought us some. So what's great about BKS is they come out with new beers every single week.
Oh, cool.
So they're local, they don't distribute, and they are like literally one of the best in the world. So here's a couple stickers for you guys. And I'll keep the stickers going. Michael, I'm going to give her some TechDisc stickers. I'm sure you have
Yeah.
enough.
Yep.
Do you want one?
I've got a few thousand.
Yes, I just snagged those while I was here. We've also got some U-Disc whale sacks.
Fun.
So these are fun.
Yeah.
It's got Ace
That's
on it.
Ace on it.
Yeah.
That's cute. I love that. I love wheel sacks. Love Tina. She's great.
Yes.
Another BA woman in disc golf.
Yeah.
We may keep this in the simulator back here
There you go.
to keep the deck strong.
There you go. Oh,
And we've got some grip equipment towels. You might be brand like loyal or whatever, but that's why we did some towels here because you can never have enough too many
yeah,
towels.
I love
right?
Grip. Dick, he's great. We work together all the time.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
So they also support the show and allow us to give out gifts and do so much more behind the scenes. So thank you, Grip Equipment, for everything. And we've also got some, I'm calling these pink lemonade,
Pink lemonade.
cherry limeade.
Oh,
Minis.
love it. Thank you so much. I really
Thank you for being
appreciate.
on the show.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks.
Yeah.
I thank you guys for coming out here. This was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for letting us do something different.
Yeah. Hopefully pretty soon we can move some of the furniture out and get some discs flying in here.
Yes, we're doing that immediately. So thank you very much. Appreciate you all.
Thank you guys.
Cool.
Thank you.
See you guys. Peace.